If you work as a manufacturing facilities engineer, installing a new piece of equipment can be as complex as the machinery itself. From prep work to alignment and testing, it's your team's job to put it all together. That's why it's good to have Grainger on your side. With industrial-grade products and next-day delivery, Grainger helps ensure you have everything you need close at hand through every step of the installation. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Craftsman Days are here at Lowe's with big savings on the tools you need. Right now, get a free select tool when you buy the Craftsman V20 2-pack battery kit. Whether it's the backyard, the bathroom, or beyond, Craftsman has the tools to help you power through and get the project done right. Because DIYing is unpredictable, but your tools shouldn't be. Shop Craftsman at Lowe's today. Valid through 6/18 while supplies last. Selection varies by location.
Now, the greatest radio shows of all time.
Suspense.
The Shadow Node.
Washington calling David Harding, Counter Spy.
Classic radio theater.
The Great Gildersleeve. Fibber McGee and Molly.
Dragnet. Gunsmoke.
The Lone Ranger.
Now, step back into our time machine with your host, Wyatt Cox.
Good evening, friends of the Inner Sanctum.
Comedy on this Monday with episodes of Fred Allen. 79 years ago, he will be king for the day. His guest is Mary Livingston's husband. We'll also have an episode of Rudy Vallee's Royal Desserts Hour from 1938. We'll also have an episode of the CBS Radio Workshop. I Have Three Heads. And we'll close it all out with an episode of Lum and Abner. That's what's coming up on this Monday. This is the 26th day of May, 146th day of the year, 219 days left till we get to 2026. The Indian Removal Act passed by Congress on this date in 1830. It was signed into law by President Andrew Jackson 2 days later. The Removal Act paved the way for the reluctant and often forcible immigration of tens of thousands of American Indians to the West. In 1864, on this date, Montana organized as a territory. In 1868, the impeachment trial of President Andrew Johnson ended. Johnson was found not guilty by a single vote. The House Un-American Activities Committee began its first session on this date in 1938. In 1948, Congress passed Public Law 557, which established the Civil Air Patrol as an auxiliary of the Air Force. Apollo 11 returned to Earth on this date in 1969 after a successful 8-day testing of all the components needed for the forthcoming first moon landing.
As the view 10, we have our astute geologists here overlooking the surface, and they'll report a minute. Roger, standing by, over.
Okay, we're just passing from the highlands over into the Murray area, and you can pass on the jack. We caught a couple of real pretty little volcanoes, there's no doubt about them, and we got a couple of good high-resolution photos, and it still looks kind of brownish gray to us here.
Roger, we copy. Yeah, there was one volcano, or whatever it was, that it was all white on the outside, but definitely black around the top of it. Charlie, it might sound corny, but the view is really out of this world.
Roger. We had a couple of comments the back row that I won't repeat.
The astronauts of Apollo 10 landing back on Earth on this date in 1969. Using equipment he'd designed and built himself, George Willig scaled the side of the South Tower of New York's World Trade Center on this date in 1977. After a 3.5-hour, 110-story climb, Willig arrested when he reached the roof. Reporters asked Willig how he felt.
Nervous, more than scared, actually. I just hope that they didn't get a fire truck in or something to try to, haul me off from a cherry picker.
Not many 110-story cherry pickers. Willig eventually was fined $1.10, a penny for each story of the World Trade Center. He climbed it on this date in 1977. In Atlantic City on this date in 1978, Resorts International, the first legal casino in the eastern U.S., opened. In 1998, the Supreme Court ruled Ellis Island The historic gateway for millions of immigrants was not in New York, but it was mainly in New Jersey. The Mars Odyssey found signs of huge water ice deposits on the planet Mars on this date in 2002. 2004, Terry Nichols found guilty of 161 state murder charges for helping carry out the Oklahoma City bombing. In 2009, President Obama nominated Sonia Sotomayor to be the first Hispanic justice on the Supreme Court.
An inspiring woman who I believe will make a great justice, Judge Sonia Sotomayor of the great state of New York.
President Obama on this date in 2009. Protests triggered by the murder of George Floyd erupted in Minneapolis, St. Paul on this date in 2020, later becoming widespread across the U.S. And in 2021, 10 people killed in a shooting at a rail yard in San Jose, California. Passing away on this date in history, Ray Liotta.
It's just, you're just funny. It's, the way you tell the story and everything.
Ray Liotta passing away on this date 3 years ago. Also passing away on this date, First Lady Ida McKinley, composer Victor Herbert, singer Jimmy Rogers, the automotive executive Edsel Ford, the OJ's William Powell, actor Eddie Albert, and a man whom we all grew up with, Art Linkletter. Birthdays on this date include Al Jolson.
After you saw the picture, didn't you kind of wish that you were as young as Larry Parks?
Bing, look. If I was young as Larry Parks, there wouldn't have been anything to make a picture about.
I see what you mean.
Swanee, how I love you, my dear old Swanee. I'd give the world to be among the folks in DIX. I even know my mammy's waiting for me, praying for me down by the Swanee. The folks up north won't see me no more when I get to that Swanee shore.
Jolson promoting the Jolson story on the Philco Radio Time with Bing Crosby back in 1947. Al Jolson, born on this date in history. Along with Jolson, born on this date, singer Mamie Smith, Ben Alexander, you remember him from Dragnet. Also Jay Silverheels, Tonto on television's Lone Ranger. Also actor Peter Cushing, singer Peggy Lee. Hello Pilgrim, John Wayne, born on this date.
It's the Ringo Kid.
That's right, Buck. Hiya, Curly.
Ringo.
Didn't expect to find the sheriff riding shotgun.
I was heading for Lordsburg, same as you, Ringo.
Well, my horse went lame, so you got another passenger.
I'll take that rifle first, Ringo.
That's so, Sheriff.
You're under arrest for the murder of Jed Michael.
Sorry, Curly, but this Winchester here says different.
Sorry, Ringo. But if you'll look back up the road a piece, you'll see our escort of United States Cavalry coming up.
Oh.
I'll take that rifle now, Ringo.
Sure, Sheriff. But you better hold on to it. You may need it before we get to Lordsburg.
Thanks.
From the 1949 Screen Directors Playhouse, the very first episode of the program, Stagecoach, adapting Wayne's picture. Wayne was on it on this date. No, not on this date, but in 1949. John Wayne, born on this date. Also celebrating birthdays on this date, actor Peter Cushing, singer Peggy Lee, actor James Arness, Miles Davis, great musician, astronaut Sally Ride, and from Supernatural, Nikki Acox, all born on this date in history.
Hi, this is Jeff Foxworthy. It is now time for the birthday announcements. The following people are now officially older than dirt.
And we start off with sportscaster Brent Musburger, who's now in charge of the Vegas Stats and Information Network in Las Vegas. Musburger, 86 today.
I'm Brent Musburger, and I'll be your host throughout the afternoon and evening from here in our living room for a day, perched high above the 50-yard line.
Brent Musburger, 86 today. Songwriter Stevie Nicks is 77. She starred in a ton of blaxploitation films. Pam Grier, 76. From Miami Vice, Philip Michael Thomas is 76. Also Hank Williams Jr., 76 today. From As the World Turns and Gossip Girl, Margaret Collin is 67. She was Laura on General Hospital. Jeannie Francis, 63, as is Bobcat Goldthwait, 63 years old today. Musician Lenny Kravitz is 61. From Sweeney Todd, Helena Bonham Carter is 59.
Priest, have a little priest.
Is it really good?
So it's too good, at least. Then again, they don't commit sins of the flesh, so it's pretty fresh.
Awful lot of fat.
Only where it's at.
Haven't you got poet or something like that?
No, you see, the trouble with poet is how do you know it's deceased? Try the priest.
Helena Bonham Carter, 59 today. From South Park, Matt Stone is 54, and singer Lauryn Hill is 50. Those just a few of the people celebrating the 26th day of May as their birthday. If this is your birthday.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, happy birthday, happy birthday to you.
Would you like to be a king for a day? Well, somebody close to Fred Allen would. That's coming up next here on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox on this Monday.
The Crusade for Freedom is a crusade for your freedom and mine. The truth dollars people send the Crusade for Freedom help preserve our own freedom, even as they get the truth and hope to people behind the Iron Curtain. Truth dollars help finance Radio Free Europe and Radio Free Asia, the most effective weapons Western democracy has for countering lies and distortion. Send your contribution to The Crusade for Freedom, care of your local postmaster. That's Crusade for Freedom, care of your local postmaster.
My favorite episode of the Fred Allen Show. Now, understand, Fred's done a lot of crazy shows. And one of the ones that I really enjoy was when the Eagle got loose in the studio and they didn't know how to get it down. That caused a lot of trouble. But this one is great. This goes back 79 years, May 26, 1946, The Fred Allen Show.
Mr. Allen, Mr. Allen.
It isn't one of the old hickory singers, kiddies.
The makers of Bluebonnet Margarine and Tenderleaf Tea present The Fred Allen Show. With Fred's guests, Mary Livingston's husband, Portland Hoffa, Minerva Pius as Mrs. Nussbaum, Alan Reed as Falstaff Openshaw, Parker Fenley as Titus Moody, the DeMarco sisters, and Al Goodman and his orchestra. And until I start tooting the claghorn, my name is Kenny Delmar. Ladies and gentlemen, Shakespeare said, to be or not to be. Benjamin Franklin said, remember, time is money. But for the last 8 months, all I've said is, here he is again, Fred Allen.
Thank you and good evening, ladies and gentlemen. And Kenny, I happen to overhear your opening remarks. Lad, if you are unhappy in your work...
Well, how can I be happy, Fred? Every Sunday, what do? I have one line. Here he is again.
Kenny, the man who invented the telephone only had one line when he started.
Yeah, but Fred, I'm not getting any place in radio. It's the same on my other show.
Oh, you're on another...
The Lucky Strike program.
Oh, the Lucky Strike program. What do you do on that?
You know when the man says LSMFT?
Yeah.
Then the tobacco auctioneer says Yatata sold American.
Uh-huh.
Then a voice says, you bet.
You bet.
Another voice says, yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
The voice that says, yes, sir, is mine.
You're beaten down on that show, too, huh? Kenny, why don't you give up that other job and just work on our show?
You mean you'll pay me the extra money?
No, Kenny, but I tell you what I shall do. I'll let you add the line you have on the Lucky Strike program to the line you have on our show. Put them together now and see how they sound.
Here he is again. Yes, sir.
How is that?
Well, that's more like it, Fred. Now I've got something to do.
As long as you're happy, Kenny, that's nice.
Mr. Allen!
Well, Portland, gee whiz. Well, Portland, pull up an old rejoinder and sit down. What's new?
Mama says President Truman has taken over all the coal mines.
Does your mother need coal?
Yes. Mama's calling up the White House tomorrow and ordering 2 tons.
Oh, that's fine. Do away with the middleman. Go right to the top. Well, if she needs any wood, the president could sit down at the piano and give her a couple of chords, I imagine. Not good. Help it, the man crept in here and did something to the script tonight. I won't mention any names.
Mama says the world today is a bowling alley.
The world is a bowling alley?
Every time you turn around, there's a strike.
Well, I'm glad that anything you don't understand, applaud. It's perfectly all right. That's what they do in Hollywood. People come in, just applaud and get warm and go home. I'm glad the trains are running again, Portland.
Yes, if the railroad strike lasted one more week,
yeah,
the Atchison, Topeka, and Santa Fe would have been off the hit parade.
Oh, that would have been terrible. Well, I think I'll run along, Portland. I have to get my magnifying glass and worm a crab apple.
Mama says Friday is your birthday.
That's right.
How old are you?
Nobody knows, Portland. I was born before the Decca Company started, so there weren't any records in those days.
Mama says
Now, don't you laugh. Don't you start laughing. You're going to establish a precedent in here. I want to know about it. Come to me.
Mama says last year when the candles on your birthday cake melted down,
yeah,
there was enough grease to wax the floor at Roseland.
Oh, I'm not that old, Portland.
Mama says if you were a piece of furniture, you'd be an antique.
Yeah. If I was an antique in radio, I'd be Duncan's other fife. Well, that's life, I guess, Portland.
Mama says life is like the Australian fig bird.
The Australian fig bird?
It lives on the seeds in figs.
But there aren't any figs in Australia.
The Australian fig bird dies at birth.
And the Australian fig bird has nothing on our jokes, let me tell you. I think we'd better get along to Allen's Alley, Portland.
What is your question tonight?
Well, recently, a Mr. Ralph Slater, a specialist in mental suggestion, made a phonograph record that he guarantees will put any insomniac to sleep. And so our question is, do you have any trouble sleeping? And if you do, what are you doing about it?
Shall we go?
As the dollar dinner said when the glutton sat down, I'll be gone in a minute. It's so good to get back to Allen's Alley, Portland. It's as quiet as an eel coiling in a bucket of whipped cream. Say, I wonder if the senator is in. Let's knock.
Somebody, I say, somebody knock.
Yes,
Claghorn's the name, Senator Claghorn, that
now,
is.
Look, I know.
Something tells me you don't remember me, son.
Look, I remember you.
I'm from the South. The Pone and Possum Paradise.
Now, look, Senator.
The only plant life I have around my house is a Virginia creeper.
Now, wait a minute.
Every time I get chicken pox, they're Southern fries.
Senator.
Remember me now, son?
No.
Don't say no in my presence.
Why not?
N.O., that's North abbreviated.
Wait a minute, Senator. What about this sleeping problem?
When I first went to the Senate, I had plenty of trouble sleeping. After the roll was called, I'd put on my sailsucker nightshirt and my linsey woolsey beret.
Yeah?
I'd face the south, lean back, close my eyes.
And go to sleep, huh?
Until some Yankee pigeon plucker would get up, start flapping his lips, and break up my Morpheus filibuster. Filibuster, that is.
Heard you the first time, Senator. Are you still losing sleep, Senator?
No, I've solved my problem, son.
How?
When I'm ready to sleep in the Senate, I sit back and croon myself my southern lullaby.
What is your southern lullaby?
Rock-a-bye, small fry on the cotton tree top. When the southern wind blows, your cradle will rock. When the wind's from the north, I say, baby, you'll bawl, for down will come cradle, tree, and you all.
Well, very good, Senator. So long, Senator. So long, Senator. Well, the senator stopped just in time. I was dozing off myself. Say, I wonder how Titus Moody is doing.
Howdy, Bob.
You're starting to sound like Dennis Day, Titus. Tell me, Mr. Moody, do you have any trouble sleeping?
I only half sleep.
Half sleep?
I got short eyelids.
With short eyelids, you can't close your eyes, huh?
Only when I frown.
Oh, I see. Well, are you the only one awake on the farm?
No, daylight saving time has got everything in a swivet.
The animals are bewildered?
Yeah, my cow had insomnia.
Your cow didn't sleep at all?
The bags under her eyes were so big, I didn't know which end to milk.
You were confused, eh?
Yeah. First time I milked the wrong end and got 2 buckets full of homogenized tears.
Well, have you cured the cow's insomnia?
I got a book on hypnotizing.
Good.
I stood in front of the cow.
Yeah?
I stared right into her eyes.
Uh-huh.
I started waving with my hands.
Uh-huh.
I said, Alakazam, Alakazam, you ain't a cow, you're a hen.
You're a hen. Well, was your hypnotism a success?
Yeah, today that cow thinks she's a hen.
Well, how do you know?
Well, she's sitting on a nest.
You mean?
She's laying eggnogs. So long, buddy.
Let's try this next door here.
No?
Oh, Mrs. Nussbaum.
You are expecting maybe Hoagie Carbuncle.
Tell me, Mrs. N, do you have trouble sleeping?
Who could sleep? Every night with his dreaming, my husband Pierre is waking me up.
He dreams, huh?
Always his different things.
Dreams these different things? How do you mean?
One night Pierre is dreaming he is the lone stranger.
Yeah?
All night long he is yelling, Hi-ho, Silver.
Hi-ho, Silver, huh?
Upstairs is living a Mr. Silver.
Yeah?
All night he is yelling back, Hi-ho, Nussbaum.
I see.
One night Pierre is dreaming he is an automobile, a roadster.
A roadster?
In his pajamas, Pierre is sleeping with the top down.
Oh. Fine.
Once he is dreaming he is an Alka-Seltzer.
An Alka-Seltzer?
All night Pierre is fizzing.
Well, no wonder. No wonder you can't sleep.
Last night he should drop dead.
What happened?
He is dreaming he is a tea kettle.
A tea kettle, huh?
All night long Pierre is whistling.
Whistling?
In the morning when he is waking...
Yeah?
In bed with Pierre is 20 dogs.
Well, that brings us to the lavender shanty at the end of the alley. Let's try here.
You knocked 3 times. Do you think that's nice? In my last picture, the postman rang twice.
Falstaff, you have new poems tonight?
Indubitably. Hast heard, said the little bear to the big giraffe, let's eat a hyena just for a laugh?
No.
Or when I called her baby, her face lit up because she had a lantern jaw?
No.
How about this? Mother's home putting spikes in her shoes. She's playing first base for Vera Cruz.
Now, wait a minute, Paul. You exponent of the hackneyed. Tonight we are discussing the problem of sleep.
My poem awaits your bidding.
And what is your shut-eye sonata called?
My recipe for slumber.
How does it go?
If you cannot sleep at night and you don't know what to do, my recipe for slumber is just the thing for you. Don't waste time taking powders. Don't bother counting sheep. Don't dawdle in a hot bath, hoping you will sleep. Don't give up drinking coffee. Don't send for any gland man. You can eat and drink all night, and still you'll meet the Sandman. My recipe for slumber is older than the Sphinx. Just cut 20 tiddlies into halves, and you'll get 40 winks.
Well, thank you. And as Falstaff runs for cover, we turn to greet the DeMarco sisters. Accompanied by Maestro Al Goodman and his I Haven't Got a Joke for Them This Week Philharmonic, the DeMarco sing Doing What Comes Naturally.
Folks are dumb where I come from. They ain't had any learning. Still they're happy as can be, doing what comes naturally. Folks like us could never fuss with school, books, and learning. Still we've gone from A to Z, doing what comes naturally. You don't have to know how to read or write when you're out with a feller in the pale of moonlight. You don't have to come from a great big town not to go picking berries in an evening gown. That comes naturally. That comes naturally. My uncle out in Texas can't even write his name. He signs his checks with X's, but they catch them just the same. Uncle Ben got angry when they caught him stealing chicken. I'm within my right, said he, doing what comes naturally. Why naturally? Naturally.
And now a simple suggestion.
A suggestion about something good to eat makes us all take notice, so here's one for the book.
Be smart when you spend your food dollars, ladies. Get the most for your money. Get Bluebonnet margarine, for it gives you flavor, nutrition, economy, all three. Yes, not just one, not just two, but all three. You get flavor, delicious flavor, fresh, delicate, country sweet. The fussiest eater in your family will tell you, gee, Mom, this tastes swell. Bluebonnet brings you proved nutrition, too. It's rich in food energy, rich in vitamin A. As for economy, you'll find Bluebonnet saves you real money. Costs just about half as much as an expensive table spread. And remember, Bluebonnet margarine is a product of the makers of Fleischmann's yeast. So you know it's pure, fresh, dependable. These days, your grocer doesn't always have Bluebonnet, for there's an acute shortage of table spreads. But keep asking, he'll have it. And when he does, grab it. Remember the letters F-N-E for flavor, nutrition, economy. Bluebonnet margarine gives all three: flavor, nutrition, economy.
That was just a short order of Who Do You Love, I Hope, played by Maestro Al Goodman and his 40 men who...
This is Studio 6A,
Say, wait a minute,
folks.
wait a
This
minute.
glass booth is the control room.
Say, just a minute.
That little man with the mildew on him is a vice president.
Say, wait a minute. What is this?
This is a Radio City 60-cent tour. Okay, folks, let's get going. Hey, wait a minute. I got a stowaway here.
A stowaway in a tour?
Only 15 people paid. Now I got 16.
Who would be low enough to sneak into a tour to save 60 cents?
There's the guy. Hey, you.
Who, me? Jack Benny.
Come on,
Jack.
I'm going to get 60 cents out of you if I have to...
Take your hand off my spine. Put me down.
Yes, guide. Put Mr. Benny down. I'll give you the 60 cents.
Wait a minute, Fred, wait a minute. Put that money away.
But, Jack...
I've only seen half the tour.
Well, Jack...
Give him 30 cents.
Here you are, guide.
Thanks. Follow me, folks. Now, on your right is a water cooler.
Well, Fred, it was nice of you to pay that 30 cents.
Oh, it was nothing.
Nothing, he says. 30 cents.
Jack, how can you be so cheap?
All right, go ahead. Be like the other radio comedians. Tell some cheap jokes. Say I'm tighter than the skin on Sidney Greenstreet's hip. I squeeze a nickel so hard the E pluribus laps over the unum. Tell him.
Well, Jack, I didn't...
Oh, start insulting me after I made a special trip up here just to say goodbye before I leave for Hollywood.
Well, Jack,
All of a sudden, I'm cheap. I won't even eat in the sun. My shadow might ask me for a bite.
Your shadow has teeth? Jack, now look. Jack, don't get excited. Look, if you're cheap, you're cheap.
That's the way I look at it. Some people save asparagus ends. It's a hobby. My hobby is not spending.
Well, Jack, if there ever was a time that you and I should not argue, this is the time.
What do you mean this is the time?
Well, haven't you heard? A lot of the radio programs that have been on for many years have been canceled. They'll not be back on the air next fall.
Well, that's radio, Fred. It's dog eat dog. I always say only the fit survive.
Oh, how true. By the way, you finished tonight, didn't you?
Yes, sirree. Tonight was my last show of the season.
Did your sponsor mention anything about your program coming back in October?
Well, no, Fred, but we have a mutual understanding. You see, we always sort of take it for granted.
Oh.
The season ends, the sponsor shakes hands with me, and then we... Yipe!
Jack, what's wrong?
Tonight he didn't shake hands.
Well, that's what happened to the street singer. At the end of the year, his sponsor used to wink. One year he didn't wink. The street singer was back in the street.
But, Fred, why should my sponsor want to get rid of me? Well, I'm funnier than I was when I started, and I'm getting less money.
Really?
Some weeks when he's short, I take tobacco. I hate to get these big laughs on your program.
Let's face it, Jack. Radio needs new blood. Who knows? We may be through.
I've been on radio 14 years. They can't throw me aside like an old shoe.
But, Jack...
14 years. And now, like an old shoe.
But, Jack, you with that and yipe. 14 years is a long time.
Fred, what has Ma Perkins got that I haven't got? Only longer commercials. That's it.
Well, Jack, you know how it is in radio. Today you're a star. Tomorrow Ralph Edwards is hitting you in the face with a pie.
Like an old shoe.
Well, cheer up, Jack. At least we have our memories. We've known each other for 30 years.
Yep. The first time I met you, Fred, I was just a kid in school. A diller, a dollar, a 10 o'clock scholar.
You were the only 10 o'clock scholar I ever saw with 5 o'clock shadow.
How I could use some of that fuzz today. I could use a good joke today, too.
The next time we met, we were in vaudeville, remember? You were doing a musical act.
Playing the violin. What a finish I had. When I played Glowworm, my violin lit up.
With those neon strings, it was beautiful.
Fred, remember my encore?
Encore?
Remember I'd put the violin bow in my teeth, bend the crab, and play Listen to the Mockingbird?
And as you bent the crab, 2 mockingbirds flew out of the back of your pants?
I stopped every show.
Except this one. Remember the closing...
This one stopped 5 minutes before I got on it.
Stopped with Cash Daly. Remember that week in Needles, Arizona, the closing act, Cohen's Camels?
Cohen's... No, I don't.
The closing act. Jack, how could you forget Cohen's Camel?
Cohen, I remember. My sponsor told me to forget that other word.
Those were the happy days. The next time I saw you, you were just going into radio.
I remember the morning Marconi called me up.
Marconi?
Marconi and Singing Sam had a little radio station in a doorway down on the east side. The antenna was a Western Union boy holding a wire.
Well, I guess
it's... jokes don't fit.
No, they don't.
The antenna. When did I ever say antenna on my own show? Go ahead, Fred.
Well, it's all over, Jack. We've come to the end of the rainbow.
Like an old shoe.
There it is again.
Been on 10 minutes already. I've only had it's an old shoe. Oh, I forgot antenna.
Yeah. You ought to get a boot out of that old shoe by now.
No, I'm sorry I brought it back in again. It seems like only yesterday I ran into the May Company and said, Mary, stop demonstrating that Brillo. That's another word I don't know.
It goes on top of an antenna. A Brillo fits on an antenna. Cheer up, Jack. When you're retired, you can tune in on my program.
Your program? You mean you're not getting thrown out of radio, too?
Well, why should I?
Listen, if my program is old stuff, you with that broken-down Allen's Alley...
Now, well, wait, I mean my new show.
New show?
People don't want entertainment today. A radio show has to give away things. Nylons, ice boxes, automobiles.
You mean to stay on the air, you have to give things away? Free?
Yes.
I'll die first.
Well, not me. I'm auditioning my new program tonight.
And Fred, you're giving things away?
Tons of stuff.
To strangers?
What's the difference? Who gets it?
Well, Fred, as long as I'm here in the studio...
Well, no, I'm sorry, Jack. Professional people cannot participate. It's a rule.
But don't you ever find people on these programs changing their names to get something for nothing?
Well, occasionally we do catch a phony, but we're on the air. What can we do?
Nothing. You have to give them the merchandise?
That's right.
Mr. Allen, we're ready for your audition.
I'll run along, Fred. So long.
So long, Jack.
Giving away things for nothing.
Well, all right, Mr. Goodman. Let's try out my new show.
How would you like to be king for a day? And here he is, the man who will change one of you nobodies into king for a day, the old kingmaker himself, Fred Allen.
Thank you. Thank you. And good evening. Did all you folks in the audience like those $1,000 bills you found on your seats when you came in? Good. And if you want more, there'll be a big bag of money at the door. On your way out, help yourselves. But the stage is loaded with hundreds of presents for the first man to answer our jumbo jackpot question. He will be king for a day. And here is our first eager contestant. Good evening, sir. What is your name?
Abner Flogg.
Mr. Flogg, how old are you?
I'm 98.
98 years old.
And don't pin no orchid onto me.
No orchid, eh?
That's how I lost my wife.
On a quiz program?
Yeah. My wife was 102. A fella pinned an orchid onto her.
I see.
The weight of the orchid bent my wife over and snapped her spine.
Well, that's too bad.
Yeah, my wife won first prize, but she never knew it.
Well, all right, Mr. Flogg. Now for our question. You may be king for a day.
I don't think I'll last through the day.
All right, we'll hurry. Tell me, who was the 6th president of the United States?
The 6th?
There were 3 names.
Mary Margaret McBride?
Oh, I'm awfully sorry, Mr. Flogg. But for making such a swell try, here is a gift certificate presented at LaGuardia Airfield, and you will get a brand new B-29 and a polka dot form-fitting parachute. Happy landings, Mr. Flogg. And here is our next potential king for a day. Your name, sir?
Myron Proudfoot.
Myron Proudfoot? You look like a chap I know.
I'm not interested in your friend. Start giving things away, brother.
What is your occupation, Mr. Proudfoot?
I'm a chaplain in a bakery.
What does a chaplain do in a bakery?
I put wings on angel cakes.
How long have you been in the cake business, Mr. Proudfoot?
Long enough to know a crumb when I see one. And I see one.
Now, don't get sarcastic, Mr. Proudleg.
The name is Proudfoot, and make with the question.
All right. Who was the 6th president of the United States?
John Quincy Adams.
John Quincy Adams is correct, and Mr. Myron Proudfoot is king for a day. Folks, here he is, King Proudfoot. Well, Your Majesty, how do you feel?
Never mind how I feel. What do I get?
Well, First, for His Majesty from Schnook Sport Nook, a genuine no-splash, beaver-board canoe paddle. Here
a canoe paddle? Oh, boy!
And with the compliments of Tiffany's, this chromium pitchfork. For a day.
A 4-prunger, and it's all mine.
And from Hemingway's hardware store, 200 pounds of self-hardening putty for King for a day.
Just what I needed. Just what I needed.
This is just the beginning, King. King, you are over 35.
By 2 years.
Fine. That jumbo cotton, Uncle Jim, for His Majesty. He is over...
Effie, that's yipe backwards.
And here, the piston rod from a genuine Baldwin locomotive for His Majesty the King. A small locomotive. And here, from Melody Lane Music Shop, this case of 2,000 soybean mandolin picks. These are the mandolins.
I just keep pinching myself to believe it.
Immediately after this program, Your Majesty will be guest of honor at a banquet at Hamburger Heaven. Tomorrow morning, through the courtesy of the Sanitation Department, you will be guest conductor on the 11.5 garbage run through the Bronx. At night, in your ermine robe, you will be whisked by bicycle to Orange, New Jersey, where you will be the judge in a chicken cleaning contest.
I'm king for a day.
And that's not all.
There's more?
Yes, we are going to start right now to make you look like a king. Sam of Sam's Super Shoe Shine Stand is here to brush your shoes. All right, Sam.
Sam, watch out for the button.
Next, the president of the Busy Bee Hat Cleaners is here to block your hat. Take the king's hat, Mr. Bumble.
And change the newspaper in the hat bag.
Your suit is a little baggy, King. Boys, take His Majesty's coat off.
Wait.
On our stage, we have a Hoffman pressing machine.
Now, wait a minute.
An expert operating the Hoffman pressing machine will press your trousers.
Now, wait!
Take His Majesty's pants off, boys. Keep your shirt on, King.
You bet I'll keep my shirt on.
We're a little late, folks. Tune in again.
Come on, Alan, give me my pants.
Quiet, King.
Alan, listen to Frank. Where are my pants?
Benny, for 15 years I've been waiting to catch you like
Alan,
this.
you haven't seen the end of me.
It won't be long now.
I want my pants.
Now, if you don't know what day today is...
Today is the day to get out the tall glasses. The iced tea season is here. Time to enjoy iced tender leaf tea, one of summer's main attractions. Yes, iced tea is raised to its ultimate best by the use of this richer blend. In fact, the iced tea season has played a big part in making tender leaf tea so famous for flavor. Flavor means more. It's more important through the summer months. So everybody sets out to get all the flavor going, and that leads straight to tender leaf tea for finer flavor and more of it. In spite of melting ice, the richer goodness of tender leaf tea persists. The last swallow of the glass is still delicious, still flavorful tender leaf tea.
This is NBC, the National Broadcasting Company.
Yep, they ran out of time. We've heard the rumor, but we have never been able to verify it, that when Jack's pants were taken off on stage, he was wearing a pair of underwear that had in big red letters, LSMFT. We have not been able to verify that. That's just a rumor. 79 years ago, May 26, 1946, The Fred Allen Show here on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. Coming up next, the Royal Desserts Hour with Rudy Vallee and the Canova family with Judy Canova.
You can help children, old folks, the sick, and the aged. You can help destroy juvenile delinquency. You can make your town a healthier place in which to live. You can do all this with just one gift, a contribution to your community chest. 4 out of 10 families in community chest areas benefit directly from the services you help to support. The other families benefit indirectly by better community living conditions. So make your town a better place to live. Give generously to your community chest.
We continue now on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox with an episode of the Royal Desserts Hour starring Rudy Vallee. This goes back 77 years to May 26, 1938. His guest, Judy Canova and the Canova family.
The Royal Desserts Hour, directed by Rudy Vallee. Hi-ho, everybody. This is Rudy Vallee and Company. From where we're standing here under the starter's gun, tonight's show looks like the best in weeks. Plenty of comedy, for one thing, supplied principally by the queen of all hillbilly funsters, Judy Canova, assisted by Sister Annie and Brother Zeke. To the clan Canova, add the McNulty family, Eileen, Peter, and Mom McNulty. In Irish songs, jigs, and blarney. From Broadway come 3 fine character players and a boy actor, one each from the season's 4 big hit plays, Our Town, Of Mice and Men, On Borrowed Time, and I'd Rather Be Right. Arthur Allen, Frank Conroy, Thomas Findlay, and Master Warren Mills will be heard in No More Battles, a charming Memorial Day comedy by Merrill Rogers. Tonight's interviewee, my friend, advisor, and teacher, Professor William Lyon Phelps, Billy Phelps of Yale, and of course Tommy Riggs, Betty Lou, and Irving Caesar. From Broadway's newest hit musical, a medley, I Married an Angel, 2 choice tunes. On your marks, gentlemen, get set, go. Spring is here, why doesn't my heart go dancing? Spring is here, why isn't the waltz entrancing? No desire, no ambition leaves me. Maybe it's because nobody needs me. Spring is here, why doesn't the breeze delight me? Stars appear, why doesn't the night invite me? Maybe it's because nobody loves me. Spring is here, I hear. Why doesn't the breeze delight me? Stars appear, why doesn't the night invite me? Maybe it's because nobody loves me. Spring is here, I hear. The McNulty family, Eileen, Peter, and Mom. You've never seen the McNultys in a Broadway nightclub. They're not that sort of an act at all. But they do work every night at receptions, balls, and shindigs, tended, sponsored, and thrown by New York's large, sociable, and fun-loving Irish population. Recently, an enterprising phonograph record firm waxed a series of McNulty songs and found the ventures immensely profitable. Informality is the keynote of the McNulty brand of entertainment. They're very real and very Irish. Here's the McNulty family.
Thank you, Rudy. With such a fine tongue as you have in your head, I think you must be Irish yourself.
Well, Mom, that's at least partly true.
Only partly? Well, don't worry about it. We can't all be lucky. Anyhow, this is a fine place to have here. And look at all the people. You know, it reminds me of the time the McCarthys threw a St. Patrick's Day party in honor of young Katie McCarthy's graduating from high school. And she was only 16, mind you. And as pretty as a picture. Eileen, Peter?
Yes, Mom?
Tell them about McCarthy's party.
Michael McCarthy once gave a great party on St. Patrick's night in his mansion so fine. His friends and relations received invitations. They formed quite a crowd when they sat down to dine. Beside all the Irish in town, but I wish I knew all the names of the folks gathered there. Some Germans and Hebrews, Italians and Swedes too. All nations attended McCarthy's affair. They listened with glee to their host. When McCarthy said, boys, here's a toast. Let ye all be Irish tonight. Let ye all be Irish tonight. If French, Scotch, and Germans, Italians, and Jews just act like McNulty's, Malone's, and McHughes, and they'll shake ye all by the hand, as if ye came from Ireland. Forget all your troubles, your cares, and your woes. Imagine you're one of the Macs and the O's. Do everything Irish, and you'll have no woes. Let ye all be Irish tonight. Let ye all be Irish tonight.
It was a grand success, that party. Sure, I'll never forget the look on Mr. McCarthy's face when Mike McGuire came in, and there wasn't a chair in the house for him to be resting his long legs on. Peter? Eileen?
Yes, Mom?
Tell him about McGuire, and you'd better be going to town.
Oh, my name, it is McGuire, and I'll quickly tell to you of a pretty girl I admire named Katie Donahue. She's frail, fat, and sporty, and believe me when I say, every time that I go courting her, I can hear her mother say, Johnny, get up in the fire, get up and give the man a seat. Don't you see, it's Mr. McGuire, and he's courting your sister Kate. Well, you know very well he owns a farm a little way out of town. Will you get up there and be taking the air and let Mr. McGuire sit down?
I could dance rings around that. Well, and of course, even Mr. McCarthy's party couldn't hold a candle to the ones they have in the old country sometimes. I'll never forget the time that young Divil-Pat Rafferty brought the rumba to the town of Auchnacloy. Peter?
Yes, Mom?
Eileen? Yes, Mom? Tell them about Rafferty.
Was it Mary Murphy's wedding when the fun was at its height? When Rafferty, the troubled man, came in and he was tight. Says he, I'll demonstrate a step. I picked it up in London. And for a partner quick he grabbed young Susan and McCundon. Was the rumba that he called it, and I'm telling you, me boy, there'll be trouble if he brings it here to peaceful Auchnacloy. Oh, when Rafferty and Susan did the rumba, sure their feet went bitter platter on the floor. And them cutting such a figure made me wonder how we'd look at decent people anymore. Oh, the music, it was awful, everybody was in pain. If the minstrel he had heard it, he'd have smashed his harp again. But they turned and they twisted, 'twas the sight for man and boy, when Rafferty brought the rumba to the town of Auchnacloy. In the midst of all this noise and din walked Father Dan Macaulay. Says he, tell me the meaning of this sinfulness and folly. Oh, Father dear, says Rafferty, is it a sin, I wonder, to be teaching these young sweet collies the way to dance the rumba? But Rafferty, says Father Dan, your senses you're losing. Not content with being daft yourself, you've nearly murdered Susan. Oh, when Rafferty and Susan did the rumba, sure their feet went bitter platter on the floor. And them cutting such a figure made me wonder how we'd look at decent people anymore. Oh, the music, it was awful, everybody was in pain. If the minstrel he had heard it, he'd have smashed his harp again. But they turned and they twisted, 'twas the sight for man and boy, when the Rafferty brought the rumba to the town of Auchnacloy.
As the Broadway season fades into springtime doldrums, 4 attractions stand out as the best American plays of the year. However different in theme and execution, these 4 have at least one quality in common: superlative acting in secondary as well as featured roles. We have chosen 4 actors, one from each play, to bring to life the characters imagined by Merrill Rogers in a tenderly comic drama for Memorial Day entitled No More Battles. From the Pulitzer Prize-winning Our Town, we have chosen Arthur Allen to play the lead in No More Battles. From On Borrowed Time, Frank Conroy, who will play General Robert E. Lee tonight. From Of Mice and Men, Thomas Findlay to play General Ulysses S. Grant. From I'd Rather Be Right, young Warren Mills to play Bobby. The play, No More battle. Most of you who were born sometime, we'll say, before the second decade of the present century, have a vivid recollection of at least one old veteran of the war between the states. Perhaps he was your own grandfather, and like Bobby's grandfather, told you tales of his martial exploits that made up in glamour and romantic quality, for what at times they may have lacked in downright truthfulness. Quite likely, though, the old gentleman told those stories so often that he came to believe them himself. I hope he did, just as I hope Bobby's grandpa believed the stories he told Bobby, and especially about the time when, but let's hear it as it must have sounded to Bobby some 30 or more years ago.
Bobby, now see here, it's getting pretty near your bedtime. Your Ma ain't going to like it a bit unless you start getting undressed and get ready pretty soon.
But just one story, Grandpa, about the war, and then I'll go right to bed.
Well, maybe there's time for just one story.
Tell me about the Battle of Gettysburg and how you and Captain Slocum stopped Pickett's charge.
Why, Bobby, I've told that to you so often I think you'd know it forwards and backwards by now. I'll tell you. Maybe I'll tell you one I ain't never told you before. One that's a whole lot more important than any battle.
More important than any battle, Grandpa.
That's right, Bobby. And it's something I'm prouder about than anything that ever has happened to me.
Gee whiz, Grandpa.
Now, wait just a minute now till I get my pipe going here. Well, sir, you see, we was in camp down there in Virginia, and the war had been going on for pretty nigh to 4 years. We was still a-fighting. You know, Bobby, after 4 years, you get to look at things different than you did when you first marched out in a brand new uniform.
And the band playing.
Well, that's it, Bobby. Well, I remember it was along towards the middle of the afternoon. I'd been washing out my socks. While I was waiting for 'em to dry, I was sitting there on a log, thinking about things. And while I was sitting there, up come the sergeant, and he says General Grant was mighty anxious to see me.
General Grant?
General Grant.
Gee.
So naturally I said, well, so I tell the general I'll be right along, and I started to put on my socks.
Didn't you wait for your socks to get dry?
Well, shucks, no, Bobby. I just put 'em on wet. When you're in a war, a little thing like wet socks don't bother you none.
So wouldn't you catch cold?
Why, of course not, boy, of course not. Well, anyway, I started for General Grant's tent. He was mighty busy working at a table with a whole lot of papers on it, but when I got there, he looked up and he said...
Hello, Grandpa. Come in and sit down.
Well,
I wanted to talk to you. I've been sort of worried.
Well, that's too bad, General Grant. What are you worrying about?
It's about this war, Grandpa.
Well, I've been sort of worrying about it myself, General. Wondering if it was ever going to end.
That's just what I mean. When I first came to Virginia, I said I was going to fight it out on this line if it took all summer. But it's been all winter, too. And here it is spring. And a lot of people are getting sick of the whole business.
You're not telling me any news, General. I've got a girl up north named Grandma. And she's getting pretty sick of this war. If you ask me, General, we'd all have been a sight better off if this war had never got started.
I'm just as anxious to get it over as you are, Grandpa. But the question is, how are we going to do it?
Well, I'll tell you, General. You know, I've had an idea in my head now for quite a spell. Say, why don't you go and have a talk with General Lee?
Talk with General Lee?
Just sit down, the two of you, and talk the whole thing over. Maybe you could find some way to stop all this shooting and killing.
Why, I couldn't do that, Grandpa. If there's any talking to be done, General Lee has got to make the first move.
Now, General, you're just being stubborn.
Well, maybe I am, Grandpa. But the first move on anything of that sort has got to come from General Lee, and that's flat.
What difference does it make who makes the first move? The best thing anyone can do about this war, or any war, besides not starting it in the first place, is to stop it. Most people ain't going to give a hoot how you stop it, so long as you do stop it.
Well, you've been a mighty good soldier, Grandpa. And I'm not going to say anything about that point of view. But I'm a little disappointed in you just the same. I thought you might give me a real idea.
Well, I thought I was giving you a real idea.
Not that sort of an idea. That isn't going to help anything right now.
Well, I'm sorry you're disappointed in me, General, but of course, if that's the way you look at it,
Oh, don't feel that way, Grandpa. I appreciate your trying to give me a hand. But I guess I'll just have to figure it out myself the best way I can.
All right, then, General Grant. Sergeant said something about maybe we'd be having another battle tomorrow, in which case I'll go back and finish drying out my socks.
Did General Grant think you were mad at him, Grandpa?
Oh, no, I guess he knew I wasn't mad at him, but we just didn't see eye to eye on this business, that's all. And, of course, being the general, he naturally had the last word. But, you know, the more I got to thinking about what I'd said to General Grant, the more commonsensical it all seemed. And so, all of a sudden, I got another idea, which seemed to bust all over me.
Another idea, Grandpa?
Yes, sir. Another idea. I says to myself, if General Grant won't do nothing about it, well, I'll go to General Lee. And dang it all, boy, that's just what I done.
Golly, what does General Lee look like, Grandpa?
Oh, I see. He was tall, real stately and dignified looking. Anyone could have told he was a soldier, every inch of him. Only, well, he was sort of gentle looking, too. And sad. Or you could see he was the sort that worried about things, just the same as General Grant. And when he saw me, he just sort of smiled and,
You want to see me, Grandpa?
That's what I come for, General Lee. It's mighty kind of you to take the time when I know you must be so busy and everything.
Oh, that's quite all right. I am busy. Well, I understand it's something pretty important.
Well, I think it's pretty important, General. Elsewise, I wouldn't have taken the chance to come all this way down here in my blue uniform and risk getting shot at.
Oh, I'm glad nobody shot you, Grandpa.
I tell you what I come see you about, General Lee. You see, I was talking to General Grant just this afternoon about how we could put an end to this war. I got the idea maybe we could do it without having to fight no more battles. You and him could get together somehow and sit down and settle it.
It's not so simple as that, Grandpa. The only way for a soldier to settle anything is by fighting.
Now, that's just what General Grant says. Oh, I didn't get no satisfaction from him at all.
General Grant's a mighty fine soldier. I can see how he'd look at it that way.
Yes, he's a mighty fine soldier, all right, General, but, oh, sometimes he's stubborn as a mule.
You'll have to be stubborn sometimes, Grandpa.
Well, anyway, what I had in mind was if you could sort of make the first move.
Me?
Well, just let General Grant know that you was willing to talk.
Well, I'll have to admit, things don't look so good for us right now. We've been losing quite a few battles lately.
Well, I wasn't thinking of that so much, General.
And our uniforms have had so much wear and tear, they're starting to give out. And some of the boys have holes right through the soles of their shoes. But that doesn't mean we're licked, Grandpa. Not by a long shot.
No, I wasn't saying that you was licked, General.
Our boys haven't lost any of their grit. And the next battle we fight, we'll show you good and proper.
Well, now, maybe that's true, General. But my point is, what is the use of keeping this war going?
Grandpa, when anyone asks me a question like that, it makes me feel very sad.
What makes everybody feel sad, General, so long as nobody seems to get the answer to it.
I know. We've been at it now for 4 terrible years.
And the fighting's still going on.
Yes, the South is still fighting.
General Lee, why does it have to go on? Dang it all, General. If you and General Grant sat down and talked it all out, you could stop it tomorrow.
But, Grandpa, even if I were willing, you say that General Grant isn't.
He won't make the first move. That's all, General.
But if I make the first move, Grandpa, people will think it was because, well...
Oh, fiddlesticks, General. Everybody knows what tough fighters you boys have been. Why, they'll just give you credit for having a heap more sense than anybody in the whole shebang, and a lot more gumption.
Perhaps you're right.
Now, of course, mind you, I don't promise anything about what General Grant would say. You might want to argue pretty strong about you fellers coming back into the Union.
Yes, I imagine he would, Grandpa.
You know, after all, General, we had a pretty good nation before we got to fighting among ourselves. And once we got the fighting out of our system, maybe we could all see that one big country was a lot better than 2 little ones.
I thought about that too, Grandpa.
You come from Virginia, General Lee. General Grant, he comes from Ohio. And I come from the state of Maine. Well, when you add it all up, General, But we're all Americans.
But even if I did offer to talk to General Grant, Grandpa, I couldn't make any promises as to what I'd say.
Well, I ain't asking you to make any promises, General. Neither of you. I'm only asking you and General Grant to sit down together. Because if you'd only try it, General, the both of you might get to see that whatever it was got us all fighting each other. Why, it ain't worth the life of another boy, whether he's got on a blue uniform or a gray. Will you do it, General? Dang it all, General, will you do...
I was just looking out over those mountains, Grandpa. Whenever I want to think about anything, I like to look at them.
I know. It's like psalmist feller who wrote about lifting up your eyes to the hills.
King David it was.
King David. Will you do it, General Lee?
I'll do it, Grandpa.
That's fine, General. Say, I'll go back and tell General Grant and fix it up for him to meet you. Say, day after tomorrow.
Sooner the better. If we're going to make a try, well, whereabouts shall we meet?
Say, I know a place, General. I noticed it while I was coming down here. It's sort of quiet, and it'd be convenient for both parties. It's a little town they call Appomattox Courthouse.
Is that all, Grandpa?
Yeah, that's all, Bobby. Well, now it's time for you to get to bed before your ma comes up here and finds you.
Well, you didn't tell me what they said when General Lee and General Grant got together.
Oh, well, I never did know what they said, Bobby, because when they got to the place, they just went into the back room and shut the door. Well, the next day, we learned that the war was over and we could all go home.
And there wasn't any more shooting and killing?
There wasn't any more shooting and killing. And that's the reason I said, Bobby, I was prouder of that than anything that ever happened to me. And if you forget all the stories I've told you about the battles, just remember this one, and you will have something that'll be mighty important to you when you grow up to be a man, sir. Well, now here, you get to bed, Bobby, just as fast as you can get them buttons unbuttoned.
That's the first half of the Royal Desserts Hour starring Rudy Vallee. 77 years ago, May 26, 1938, here on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. The conclusion next.
Whenever you drive the car, there is always an unseen, unwelcome passenger with you. That passenger is danger. The danger of a traffic accident. Unfortunately, every person seems to have the absurd notion that he bears a charmed life, that no traffic accident can happen to him. But it can, and too often it does. So when you're behind that wheel, don't take chances. Obey all traffic rules. Drive safely for life, your life, and the lives of us.
Now on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox, the conclusion of the Royal Desserts Hour starring Rudy Vallee from 87 years ago, May 26, 1938.
And perhaps what Europe needs today is some of Grandpa's commonsensical notions. The Royal Desserts Hour enters Act 2 under full speed. Just ahead are Judy Canova, William Lyon Phelps, Tommy Riggs, Betty Lou, and with a rousing new safety song for the holiday weekend, Irving Caesar.
When you're watching a parade and you're listening to the band and the crowd begins to shove, always hold your mother's hand. When the drums from come as they're passing where you stand, shout, hooray, 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 but keep holding mother's hand. Listen to those marching feet, see them tramping down the street. At the end of the parade comes a feeling that is grand, when you know that you're not lost because you've held your mother's hand.
Mr. Caesar, are they? Well, gee
Now, Betty Lou, when Mr. Tommy and I promised to take you to see the circus parade, you promised not to ask too many questions.
Well, how many questions is too many?
Now, listen, Betty Lou, you passed that point an hour ago. Now, please be quiet, will you?
But, Mr. Tommy, suppose they don't at all either.
Now, listen, Betty Lou, I've told you 20 times that the elephants will pass right by here. Now, this makes 21 times.
But you didn't hope to die and cross your heart.
All right, I hope to die and double-cross my heart. Now, stop asking questions till they do get here.
Well, gee whiz, what's taking so long? What's the matter?
I don't know anything about it except they'll be along in a minute.
Well, if you don't know anything about it, how do you know they'll be along in a minute?
Because they will. Now, be quiet.
Well, maybe they changed their minds and we're not going to have any elephants today. What do you think, Mr. Irving?
Oh, I'm sure the elephants are coming, Betty Lou.
Well, maybe they got mixed up and went up the wrong street or something.
Now, listen, Betty Lou, I have a headache. Now, look. Oh, look, there's the cowboys.
Oh, look, Betty Lou. Here come the elephants now.
Oh, the elephants. Oh, boy, here they come, too. Gee. Gee, I love a parade, the tramping of feet. I love the beat of every drum and I hear, too. I love a parade. A handful of ex-Carolina cadets of any brigade. Oh, boy, for I love a parade. Oh, Mr. Tommy, Mr. Irving, where are you? Oh, Mr. Tommy, Mr. Irving, well, gee whiz, they must be lost, too. And I told Mr. Tommy to hold on to my hand, too. Sorry, Ned.
Well, what's the matter, little girl? Lost?
Oh, hello, Mr. Policeman. No, I'm not lost, but Mr. Tommy and Mr. Irving are lost.
Oh, what do this Tommy and Irving look like? Maybe I can find them for you.
Well, gee whiz, if I tell you, will you promise never to tell them what I told you if I tell you? Because I like them, and they're awfully nice, too. And after all, you can't help how you look.
Oh, go on. I won't tell a soul.
Well, Mr. Tommy, of course, he's very pretty. Only he's got great big pop eyes, and he looks like Felix.
Like Felix?
Yes, Felix is my goldfish.
That's a help. We'll just look for Mr. Tommy in the aquarium. And what does the other fellow look like?
Well, you know Mr. Tyrone Power in the movie.
Yes.
Well, if you see anybody who looks like him, don't bother. But Mr. Caesar is pretty, too. Only his face is, well, he's got kind of a sort of, did you ever see a greyhound with glasses?
What? Oh, Tommy, there she is now.
Betty Lou, Betty, now you've had us most worried to death.
Well, that's awful funny, because there's nothing for you to worry about at all.
No, why not?
Well, because I told a man what you both look like, but he promised he'd never breathe it to a soul, too.
Well, I guess all's forgiven, Betty Lou. That is, if you'll make us a promise.
Make you a promise.
Yes, and this time keep it. Now, will you tell her what it is, Irving?
Darling, it's very simple. It's merely this. When you're watching a parade,
Bum, bum, bum.
and you're listening to the band, and the crowd begins to shove,
Bum, bum.
always hold your mother's hand.
When the drums run, dum, 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 and the fashion where you stand,
Fine.
shout, hooray, hooray, hooray.
But keep holding mother's hand. Listen to those marching feet. See them coming down the street. At the end of the parade comes a feeling that is grand. When you know that you're not lost because you've held your mother's hand.
and gentlemen, every one of you is entitled to a full-size piano copy of the song you've just heard, Watching a Parade. Get this song, the complete words and music. Teach it to your children. You may be immensely thankful when the next parade goes by. This song is regular, full-size sheet music, just like the kinds you pay 35 cents for in the stores. The cover design is drawn by the famous Rose O'Neill, creator of the Kewpies. And we will mail you this song if you send us one package front from any royal dessert and only 10 cents. Send for a copy before next Thursday. The children love to sing it. And to make this a real surprise package when it arrives at your home, we will include a beautiful set of colored cutouts. First, there's a cutout
of me, Betty Lou, showing my big blue eyes.
and your golden curls.
Yes, and all the beautiful dresses I wore in Europe, too.
In France and Holland, in Ukraine and Sweden, the authentic, colorful costumes of the country with hats to match. All these and your song of safety for only one package front from any royal pudding or royal gelatin dessert and only 10 cents. So join the thousands who help keep their children safe through song. Buy royal puddings tomorrow and rush the box front and dime to us before next Thursday. Address Royal Desserts, 420 Lexington Avenue, 420 Lexington Avenue, New York City. Please specify that the song you want is Watching a Parade, because a new song and a different set of Betty Lou colored cutouts are offered each week. Buy royal puddings tomorrow.
Goodness gracious me, who's that little lady right before my eyes? What a sight to see in her funny clothes, hard to recognize. Dressed up in a gown that trails on the floor, in a picture hat that your mother wore, living in a world that you never saw. My little lady may believe. What a pair of shoes, what two tiny feet, what a pair of gloves the fingers don't meet. Posing in a glass, your joy is complete. My little lady may believe. In your little arms, the doll you enfold means the world and all to you. But you could never love the doll that you hold half as much as I love you, dear. Dream your little dreams and may they come true. May the coming years bring happiness too. All my future dreams are wrapped up in you, my little lady May. Make your little dreams and go today. Take your little things, you sleepy head. Dream your little dreams and may they come true. May the coming years bring happiness too. All my future dreams are wrapped up in you, my little lady May. I suppose that every college has its one teacher, beloved above the rest, affectionately nicknamed and sought out each year by returning alumni. But up at New Haven, we like to think there's no one quite like Billy Phelps, William Lyon Phelps of Yale to the outside world, Professor Emeritus of English Literature, lecturer, radio commentator, former baseball and tennis star, author of an amazing variety of books and articles, including, by the way, a particularly valuable discussion of marriage and happiness in the June Good Housekeeping magazine. In our intermittent investigation into men and their jobs, we have thus far neglected the teaching profession. We make up for neglect by introducing one of America's truly great teachers, Professor William Lyon Phelps of Yale. Well, Professor, how's everything up at New Haven?
Everything's just about the same, Rudy. New faces, of course, new buildings, but the same essentially. Of course, the college band isn't what it used to be.
Neither is the former first saxophone player thereof.
You don't appear to have changed much in 11 years, Rudy. Just a trifle heavier, perhaps. But then you ought to see some members of the class of 1927.
The bloom of youth is wearing off the class of 27 pretty fast, I'm afraid. As Shakespeare put it, where most of us, quote, in fair round belly with good capon lined, with eyes severe and beard of formal cut, full of wise saws and modern instances, unquote.
My goodness, Rudy, how learned you've become.
Oh, I've been doing a little cramming against your arrival, Professor. Do you remember the time I played the saxophone in your T&B class?
Meaning Tennyson and Browning, audience, not tuberculosis. I certainly do remember, Rudy. And do you remember the time you came back to your class reunion in 33 and what fun we had together with Bolton and a whole crowd of New Haven musicians?
I remember very well, Professor.
I remember, too, a couple of other returning graduates about that time who were slightly overcome by enthusiasm or by some form of liquid asset. How they went up to Dean Jones, slapped the dean on the back, and one of them said, "Oh, Dean Jones, you don't remember me." And the dean replied, "Your name I have forgotten, but your manners are familiar." And the other one said, "Dean Jones, I bet you don't know who I am." And the dean replied, "Your face I have forgotten, but I recall the breath."
Professor, it seems to me that I've heard that story somewhere before.
Quite possibly. You see, I've been telling it every spring for the last 25 years.
Oh, but you've been teaching longer than that, haven't you, Billy?
Yes, but even college professors have to change their acts occasionally, Rudy.
How long were you a university teacher, Billy?
I taught 1 year at Harvard and 41 years at Yale, which I regard as an equitable distribution of my time between the two universities.
And you've never tired of teaching? You were never bored?
Not one single day. It was always exciting. And the older I grew, the more exciting it became. You see, I loved two things. The subject I taught, English literature, and the object I taught, college students.
You really enjoy teaching, then? You don't need to act the part?
Although the teacher is something like an actor, especially when he is teaching Shakespeare and Browning and dramatic literature, I myself never had to pretend or to work out any enthusiasm. I regard teaching as terrifically exciting. There's no job, no profession, no art, no adventure more thrilling than teaching. I love to teach as an artist loves to paint, as a pianist to play, as a singer to sing, as an athlete to play games. It never seemed dull or monotonous or a routine or mechanical to me. Every recitation was an adventure. I used to wake up early and look forward with almost unrestrainable eagerness to meeting my first class.
There's a moral there, I think.
Yes, but I'd rather use you as the example instead of myself. Rudy, you're the hardest working young man I've ever met. You were when you were working your way through Yale. You still are. Here's what I believe. There's no blessing in the world like hard work. All our troubles come from thinking of ourselves. Hard work takes us away from ourselves and makes us think of something else. Tremendous vitality comes not from rest, but from work. What keeps people alive, what preserves vitality into old age, is not deliberate care of the health, food, dieting, sleep, exercise, for I have known many people whose main occupation was taking care of their health, and they're dead. And I have known many people who continually overwork. They're not only alive, but filled with vitality, intensely interested in life and living. A German philosopher defines existence in this way. To be is to be in relations. He meant the more things we are interested in, the more we are alive. A Frenchman pointed to a cemetery and said, "Those people are not reading the newspapers." My main object as a teacher is to open the eyes of my pupils so they will see how exciting it is just to be alive,
If I remember correctly, that was Robert Browning's point of view also.
It was, and that gets us back to the classroom saxophone episode you mentioned. Browning, ladies and gentlemen, was a musician as well as a poet. When he was 5 years old, he learned to play a march in C major by a certain Charles Avison, A-V-I-S-O-N. Years later, he wrote a poem about the march. Now I wanted my undergraduates to hear the music in connection with my lecture. And as the only instrument I can play is the typewriter, I called for volunteers. Rudy answered the call and played the march in the classroom. I persuaded him to have his band play it now. It's 200 years old, and to the best of my knowledge has been played only once in this century by Mr. Vallee. We hear Avison's March in C major, Robert Browning's favorite. Thank you again, Rudy. And may I add, in Browning's own words, there is no truer truth obtainable by man than comes of music.
Well, after that, nothing matters, does it? It's a thing that one cannot explain, but it's like a long draught of champagne to awaken perchance to the whirl of La France, where only the river is sane. It's a matter of learning to live that old ladies would never forgive. It's plain to see sunshine is free. Now is the time for la vie, when all the trees are green, so green, and all the grass is green, so green, and all the frogs and flies are green. It is the spring. Asparagus is green, so green, and most of us are green, so green. The smoke room jokes, let's keep them clean, are green, so green. And when you meet a girl, you need not ask her pardon. Just say, if your name's Maud, please come into my garden. When trees and flowers and grass are green and life's a joke, see what I mean. It's no surprise to realize that I'm so green. The leeks are green, so green, so green. The old cabbage is green, so green. And figs and beans and plums and cress are green, so green. They say this thing called love is something we all die for, and cry and lie and don't ask why, but this we die for. The leaves above are green, so green. The turtle dove is green, so green. But after all, I'm all serene and green, so green. Get me a glass of buttermilk quickly, please. Of all the hillbillies who have deserted squirrel guns for microphones since radio first sent a siren call into the deeper gulches, only two have risen to real fame. One is Bob Burns, the bazooka boy of Van Buren, and the other is Judy Canova, the Venus of Unadilla. We handed Judy her first major network nearly 5 years ago, and Papa Whiteman later gave her his long-term blessing with Sister Annie and Brother Zeke. She has recently returned from London, where she had startled the natives right out of their monocles. Presenting now that Merry Mountain madcap, that hoyden from the hills, that pixelated pixie from the peanut plantations, Judy Canova with Annie and Zeke.
Hi, Miss Vallee. Hi, Mr. McNee.
Valet. Where is it? Hello, everybody.
Hello, Judy.
Well, let me look at you, Mr. Valet. You sure are looking well. What's the matter? You been sick?
No, Judy. I feel as frisky as a 2-year-old in the right patch. How do you feel?
Well, I never felt better. I had less. Of course, my brother Zeke here, he's kind of peaked. He's recuperating himself.
What was the trouble, Judy?
Lord damn, I'm telling you, that boy just had himself a serious operation. Had his socks chiseled off. Say, Mr. Valet, I want you to meet my sister Annie. Annie, come on over here. Get on over here. Now listen here to me. I want you to go ahead on and say hi to Mr. Valet. Real pretty like now. Go ahead on. Hello, everything. You'll have to sort of kind of excuse Annie tonight to see she's all nervous and jittery and everything. Ain't you, Annie? Talk to the folks now. That woman sure can talk. Yes, sir. But I know what's the matter with her, Mr. Valet.
Yes, Judy, what?
Well, just got herself a brand new boyfriend.
Oh, she didn't.
No, she did.
Well, it's very interesting. Tell me, Annie, what's your new boyfriend like?
Wild women?
No. No, Annie, I mean, what does he look like?
He'd look just like you if he had teeth. Get on over there. Zeke, come on over here, son. I want you to meet Mr. Rudy Vallee.
Gosh, he sure is a skinny critter.
Zeke, that's the microphone.
Judy, do I really look like that?
I ain't saying. Don't mind Annie and Zeke, Mr. Valet. You see, they're really great admirers of yours.
So that's what my audience looks like.
Why, yes, sir, you see, I'm quite a Valet fan myself. I sure do like your music.
Thank you, Judy. You're very kind. You see, we're a little handicapped tonight. We have no piccolo in the band.
You ain't got no what?
A piccolo.
Hey, Zeke, come here, son. What is a piccolo?
A piccolo is a fellow what gets paid for dancing with old women.
That's the smartest boy that ever come out of Yale.
Judy?
Yes, sir?
Judy, there's something I wanted to ask you for some time.
Something you've been wanting to ask me?
Yes?
See there, Annie? Of course, I always knowed I had it, but just never knowed how much of it I had before.
Well, you see, I hardly know how to go about it.
Well, you know I can't go about it for you.
Well, what I wanted to ask you is, is your brother Zeke really a hillbilly?
Well, I'll be dogged. Did you hear that, Zeke?
I ain't a saying.
You see, Mr. Valet, now you done got Zeke's southern blood to boiling.
Oh, then he really is from the South.
Well, Mr. Valet, that boy is so southern that anything north of Georgia is way down east to him.
I suppose you've been taking Zeke and Annie to see the sights in New York.
Why, sure. You know, Mr. Valet, of all the sights I've seen in New York, I like Radio City the best. It's just about the prettiest place I've ever seen in all my days.
I'll bet it's about the biggest place you've ever seen, too, isn't it?
Are you telling I? It's the only place I ever seen that there was enough of.
Did you go all through it?
Why, sure. We seen the British building and the French building, the International building and the Music Hall and the RCA building. Then we took the elevator up to the 65th floor and we went out on the terrace there where you could see the whole thing spread out down below you.
Yes, Judy, it's a great sight.
Yes, sir, Mr. Valet. But I want to ask you one thing.
What's that?
Are they going to tear down all them buildings after the fair's over? Now we'd like to sing y'all a little old song that we sung in a picture called Artists and Models. The name of the song is Jesse James.
It was on a Wednesday night, the moon was shining bright. They robbed the Glendale train, and the people laid in state 30 miles away from the outlaws back in Jesse James. Jesse had a wife who mourned all life. The children they are brave, but they dirty little coward and George Mr. Howard and they just his name. That they had a little race where they shot cats and sheep right to the ground. As they went to his hands with his hand upon his breast. Born one fine day in the county of Clay, and he came from a solitary race. Yes, he had a wife to mourn all life. The children they are brave, but they dirty little cowards and shot Mr. Howard and they Jesse James in his
Parade days are here, so send for your copy of this Song of Safety when you're watching a parade. It may save you many hours of anxiety. Specify that you want this song, and the Betty Lou cutout will be included. Send only one package front from Royal Desserts, any flavor, and only 10 cents, to Royal Desserts, 420 Lexington Avenue, New York City.
Next week, another show full of new notions with a fine cast headed by Sir Cedric Hardwick. Also scheduled at this time are Fred Keating, Helen Howe, Tommy Riggs, and Irving Caesar. This is Rudy Vallee bidding you all good night.
This is the National Broadcasting Company.
From 87 years ago, not 77, 87 years ago, May 26, 1938, the Royal Desserts Hour starring Rudy Vallee here on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. Coming up tomorrow, Westerns with Fort Laramie, Gunsmoke, The Six-Shooter, and an episode of Suspense, That Real Crazy Infinity. Then we'll also have a comedy on Wednesday with Jack Benny and Bill Harris, Fibber McGee and Molly, and The Adventures of Archie Andrews. Thursday, Father Knows Best, Lum and Abner, and the hour-long rendition of Biography and Sound, A Portrait of Fred Allen, commemorating his life. And on Friday, we'll have episodes of Counter Spy, This Is Your FBI, and The Green Hornet. And then we'll have programs for Memorial Day, Anthology, and Against the Storm. On Saturday, more drama, Suspense from 1945. Ronald Colman stars in August Heat. Bob Bailey and Let George Do It from 1948. The Cavalcade of America, Mr. Lincoln's Wife from 1943. And The Big Bindle, an episode of Dragnet from 1951. And on Sunday, the FBI in Peace and War, Suspense, Rave Notice starring Vincent Price, The Hall of Fantasy, The Telltale Heart, and Frontier Gentleman. That's all coming up this week here on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. Coming up next, I Have Three Heads, the CBS Radio Workshop.
Did you know that for only $10 you can supplement the food rations of a family of 4 for a whole month? Just send that $10 to CARE, spelled C-A-R-E, New York. CARE guarantees delivery of its packages to 11 different countries in Europe, as well as to India, Israel, and Japan. Don't forget to include your name and address and the name and address of the family you want to receive the care package, because care is a person-to-person international goodwill service.
And while that was from almost 70 years ago, CARE's still around. Go to care.org to learn more. Now an episode of the CBS Radio Workshop. This goes back just a few years, 69 years ago to May 68 years ago, May 26, 1957, and the tale of I Have Three Heads.
Passing tape over 3 heads, one for erasing, one for recording, the third for playback. And
the CBS Radio Workshop, dedicated to man's imagination, the theater of the mind, presents I Have Three Heads, a study of the techniques, the possibilities, and the improbabilities of tape recording. Today's workshop was conceived and created by CBS radio engineer Mort Goldberg. In today's workshop,
Mr. Goldberg has been aided and abetted by... hey, hold on.
Slow down, wait a minute. Too fast.
That was Stu Metz. Nice guy, but loves to talk, like all announcers. Aided and abetted by a writer, a director, who needs them? All you need for a good bang-up tape job is a good engineer like Morty and a trustworthy, loyal, helpful, friendly tape machine like me. That's all you need. Morty and I, we put our heads together. His 1 head and my 3, and we can do anything. Yes, sir, anything. Uh-oh. Who's this coming in? Don't they know this tape room's closed until tomorrow morning?
Okay, Bill. Tape room 18's clear. Ready to take her inside there? Right.
Maintenance men. Prod you, poke you, take your insides out. Regular little Dr. Kildare's.
Man, these new machines get heavier all the time. You said it. Lift a couple of these every day, and you could bend steel bars in a circus. Right.
New machine. What gives? Am I on the way out?
Okay. Let's put it down for a minute and rest. I'm tired, boy. Get a cable. We'll have to stretch it to the new box. Over in the corner. Got it. Well, what are you waiting for? What about tools? You got them? All except the wrench that fell out of my pocket. In the elevator. I'll go get it. Easy. Let's take the old machine out or we won't have room to work. These tape rooms aren't any bigger than a cell.
Right. Which one of these old machines goes?
Don't you know?
I don't know. Don't you?
Joe didn't tell you himself?
I thought Joe told you.
Okay, skip it. He's out. We'll have to wait till he comes back from supper.
Well, that's maintenance men for you. They can tell you transistor 205 connects to pole 83 on the BX sub-transformer, but when it comes to replacing one of the 3 experienced machines in this tape room, they should go back to plumbing. Sure hope it won't be me. Say, maybe this new machine knows who he's replacing. Hi, you here, aren't you?
That's obvious at first glance, I should say.
Well, we were all bright and new once. I'm Howard Ampex, Model 200. And you?
Gerald Ampex, Model 350.
We must be cousins.
Distant, I'm sure.
Wait till this time tomorrow. Wait till you've worked 12, 14 hours steadily. Fast forward, rewind, stop, edit, fast forward, stop, edit, fast forward, dub, loop, rewind. I hope I'll see you after a week.
I doubt whether you will.
What do you mean by that?
I saw how you trembled when I was ushered in a few minutes ago. You're quite sure I'm here to replace you, aren't you?
Oh, am I? I heard those maintenance men talking. I remember every syllable of every word, like a good tape machine should.
I'm quite aware of what they said.
Are you? Let me play them back to you. Remember? The tape room door opened, And then Frank and Bill started talking.
Okay, Bill. Tape room 18's clear.
Right.
There's no machine inside there?
Right.
Well, what are you waiting for? Let's steal her.
What about Joe?
Joe comes back from supper. Get it wrenched and stretch him out in a box.
Right.
Okay, let's skip. The elevator man's in my pocket. Let's lift, take her out, and sell her.
Well, now, Gerald, which of us machines is going out tonight?
Howard Ampex, that's the most dishonest thing I ever heard.
What's dishonest? I didn't change a word.
You changed the order of the words. You changed the whole implication of their conversation.
Cousin, you sure have a lot to learn about tape editing.
You mean that's what we do here? You...
Certainly not. We don't change meanings, that is. You're right. It is dishonest. That's why tape recordings are thrown out in the courts of most states. That's why editing for broadcast takes an entirely different turn.
There was a...
What's that?
A voice on the tape room floor. Just part of a day's work. An hour's work, more or less.
It took a whole hour to get that?
Let me explain. This morning, Morty came in with a fella named George Vikas. Produces a show called Update. Vikas and Morty had a German student on a piece of tape.
I got to know a few students. My own impression from America students was that there was a...
Now, Gerald, is that clear?
That there is more.
Well, it's rather hard to get the drift.
Of course it was. With radio, people are listening on small sets. People are listening in cars. Things have got to be very clear. You play something like that, all over the country, people think something's wrong with their radio.
So how did you save the country?
What? Oh, Morty and I go to work. Morty wants to start at the beginning of the student's words, so he punches me into rewind. Here we are, back at the beginning. Morty punches my start button, and the tape starts unreeling from the feed reel to the take-up reel. It passes by my 3 heads, one for erasing, the second for recording the sounds and words that are fed into it, and the third for playing back what's already on the tape. It's this third, the playback head, we're using now as we catch the student's first words.
I got to know a few students.
Morty punches my stop button. Back we go to find that
What's that very odd noise?
Manual operation. Morty's working the machine by hand.
Well, really, by hand?
You'll have many a hand laid on you before you go back to maintenance for your first checkup. And many a razor blade, too.
Razor blade?
We're coming to that. Morty's found the Now he opens the gate, exposing the heads. He marks the spot for the cut. You'll hear him dropping the pencil.
Where's the razor blade?
My boy, never let it be said we tape machines give any external evidence of the anxiety, the pain, the shock of having a sharp razor blade passed across us a dozen times an hour. The next sound you hear will be the snick of the splicing tape, the tape machine's Band-Aids. Then the tape is put back in the gate is closed, and we're off again.
And
my own.
What happened to the words you were editing?
This is a pro job, son. Morty goes on to tighten the space between the words my and own. There you have it. Now you'll hear what Morty's edited so far. Taking out the tightening the space between the my and own.
A few students. My own impression.
Uh-oh. Another to come out. And an im from that impression. So Morty makes a mark after my own, pulls the tapes by hand this time, and marks the tape ready to cut after the first im.
My own
That was me rewinding. Now, here we go forward.
My own impression from America. Students.
Another to come out. Let's see how fast Morty can make this.
America. Impression from America students was that there is more.
Stop! What's the matter, Gerald? Are you shaking your heads?
Howard, it can go like this all day?
It's a tough grind, but let me show you how it will sound after an hour or so. That's when you're proud of yourself and your engineer.
I got to know a few students. My own impression from America students was that there is more in the people of this country than that kind of materialism which the tourists expose.
Well, that's very interesting. That's... Howard? Are you crying?
Excuse me, Gerald. It's just so clear, so beautiful, the work I do.
Too bad I haven't some soft music for your emotional jag.
Music? Now, that's where you can have some fun. Have you seen My Fair Lady?
My Fair Lady? What's that?
A musical show I wrote.
Oh, you?
Well, I helped, in a way. Morty and I taped some of Julie Andrews' Cockney pronunciations, and Mr. Harrison making with phonetics. And we taped a funny babble of women's voices you hear on the My Fair Lady record, too. They promised me 2 seat, but I never got them.
Yes. Did I mention that I play classical music extremely well?
You did. As a matter of fact, you'll probably be very good at cleaning tapes.
Cleaning tapes?
Bringing foreign tapes up to American broadcast quality. Jim Fassett, he's our music commentator who has a program here on Sunday afternoons, World Music Festivals. He goes to Europe and brings back orchestras and singers in concerts American audiences might never hear. But listen. That's not good broadcast quality, is it?
Sounds like the Oskaloosa Little Symphony.
On us American machines, yes. But remember, Gerald, these tapes are made in Europe. Different machines. Jim and Morty and I work on these European tapes to restore the original quality. Take this piece of tape. You and I switch back and forth. You play the Fassett, Morty, Howard American version. I'll play the original tape. Here I go.
We're a little late, so good night, folks.
What in the world was that?
A piece of Jack Benny tape that Morty and I lost this afternoon. Wondered where it was.
Does this happen often?
Not often enough, to my way of thinking. Boy, could we have fun. Boy, oh boy, oh boy. However, Let me give you a case of where Morty and I did mix some tapes deliberately. You like band music?
Military, college, circus, jazz, or street corner?
Military. Not one, but 4 of them. This same fella, Vikas, that I told you about, he and Morty and I put together an audition for a show that hasn't been broadcast yet. A show called Sounds of the World. That music is the band up at West Point playing. We also got tapes of a band at Buckingham Palace, another band from France, and still another band playing in Red Square in Moscow. We also got tapes of 4 sergeants, one from each country, and let them give the command to march. For international cooperation, how do you like this?
Company! Fusil sur l'épaule!
Of the world. 4 military bands from West Point, England, France, and Russia. Maybe they ought to trade the UN for a good tape machine, eh, Gerald?
I like that, Howard.
Sort of liked it myself, if I do say it as shouldn't.
Say, Howard, what's that tune?
That tune? Oh, it's a little number I wrote myself.
Oh, before or after you wrote My Fair Lady?
Well, to edit this statement correctly, I, little old Howard Ampex of Tape Room 18, am probably the only tape machine that had a song especially arranged for him. For years, Morty has played tape backwards and forwards and upside down. But he has never had the chance, until just the other day, to find out what happened when an orchestra taped a song backwards, and then I played it forward again. Says Morty to himself, what happens to the instruments? So that's where Hank Silverne entered. And this is how Hank arranged T for 2 straight. Now, I taped that, and here's how it would sound if played backwards. You see? Almost everybody's done that, including the 2 million people who own home tape recorders. But now came the job of orchestrating T for 2 backwards, so that the musicians began with the last note and played it through to the first note. Here's how that sounded. We had 7 top musicians. Hank at the piano, then guitar, bass, drums, vibes, sax, and trumpet. 4 musicians who could play T for 2 straight in their sleep. This backward arrangement almost drove them to the point of turning in their union cards. But you should have seen their faces a few minutes later. Here's what we've been working for. A popular song, T for 2, orchestrated and played backwards. Now reversed and played forward so that the tune is recognizable. Did you ever hear music like this?
Holy smoke, Howard! That's out of this world.
Well, let's say just barely in it. First time anybody but Morty and me and Hank and a few others have heard that music.
Gosh, Howard, I feel so low.
Low? About what?
I didn't recognize you as a pioneer.
Don't be corny and call me the tape machine's tape machine. It's all in the day's work. Come on, cheer up, Gerald. Uh-oh, someone's coming.
Well, Bill, all set to get this new machine rolling?
Right.
What number machine are we taking out?
Number 20. Got your wrench?
What wrench?
The one you left in the elevator earlier.
I got it.
Well, hold it a minute. I forgot mine.
I guess it's goodbye. Number 20.
Cheer up, Gerald. Old tape machines never die. They just go back and get new heads.
If they come around with those 2 tickets they promised you for My Fair Lady, shall Morty and I tell them where you are?
Don't bother. Morty made his own special version out of 3 recordings. Charlie Applewhite, Sylvia Sims, and Dinah Shores. Want to hear it? Just for kicks?
Fast forward, stop, start, and just for kicks.
I could have danced all night. I could have danced all night and still have begged for more.
I could have spread my wings and done 1,000 things I've never done before.
I could have danced, all night long. I did, it's all been grand, but now it's time to sleep.
Today's workshop, I Have 3 Heads, was conceived and created by CBS radio engineer Mortimer Goldberg. Mr. Goldberg has been aided and abetted by the following: Charles S. Monroe, writer; Ira Ashley, director in New York; Jackson Beck as Howard; Ian Martin as Gerald; and Ralph Bell and Bill Quinn as the maintenance men. Hank Silverne, arranger and conductor. Stuart Metz, your announcer. The workshop wishes to thank James Fassett, Irving Gitlin, George Bekas, and others who contributed portions of program material used today. Next week, from Hollywood, a satiric fantasy written by and starring Stan Freberg about the entertainment competition in a desert spa roughly paralleling Las Vegas.
Now, that episode of the workshop did not air on the CBS Radio Workshop. In fact, that wouldn't air until the Stan Freberg show came out. Yeah, Incident at Los Barrosis. If you've never heard that, look in our archives for the first episode of the Stan Freberg show from 1957. All right, that's the CBS Radio Workshop, also from 1957, May 26th, 68 years ago. I Have 3 Heads, here on Classic Radio Theater with Wyeth Cox. Visit our webpage at classicradio.stream, and coming up next will be Lum and Abner.
This is Peter Hallas. As senior editor of the Hungarian desk at Radio Free Europe, I write and edit material destined for an audience still living behind barbed wire. I know those people, for I was one of them. I escaped to freedom in 1956, but there are millions still in captivity. Radio Free Europe keeps them in touch with the world outside. Keep RFE on the air with contributions to Crusade for Freedom.
We wrap up this Monday edition of Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox with an episode of Lum and Abner. This goes back 83 years, May 26, 1942.
The makers of Alka-Seltzer bring you Lum and Abner. Well, our old Pine Ridge friends put in another busy day today, trying to find a way out of their financial difficulties. And how about you? Well, if your day's work has left you feeling headachy and upset, just fix yourself a glass of sparkling, refreshing Alka-Seltzer. Drink it down, relax a little, and see how much better you feel in a hurry. Yes, Alka-Seltzer offers comforting relief for those common after-a-busy-day upsets. And here's why. The analgesic, sodium acetylsalicylate, quickly eases that dull headache and those aching muscles that so often follow a hard day's work. Likewise, Alka-Seltzer's alkalizing properties offer comfort for that occasional acid indigestion. So if tonight's one of those nights when any of those troubles are troubling you, let Alka-Seltzer help you feel better. Remember, you can get Alka-Seltzer at all drugstores in either the regular or the large economical family size. But be sure you get the genuine Alka-Seltzer. And now, let's see what's going on down in Pine Ridge. Well, the bill from the wholesale house is still a pressing matter, but Lum has found one way of helping raise the necessary money. He has postponed his publishing company's efforts to find the great American novel long enough to undertake the less glamorous job of printing some advertising handbills for Dick Huddleston. As we look in on the little community tonight, it is late evening, and we find Lum and Abner in the feed room working on the printing press. Listen.
Oh, me. Doggies, Lum. I'm getting tired. Can't I go home now?
No, now we got to get these handbills all printed up tonight. Dick Huddleston wants them the first thing in the morning. Go ahead and get that press started.
Well, wait a minute, Lum. Look there. It's after 10 o'clock. I'm getting sleepy.
Abner, if you'd talk less and work more, we'd get this job done. Then you could go home.
Well, I thought you was going to get Mousy Gray to help you with this.
I was, but he never wanted to do it. I think he's mad at me for not publishing any of that junk he's writing.
You mean them poems of his'n?
Oh, he's been writing novels, too, but I told him I weren't interested in none of it, no way.
Weren't, huh?
I think maybe I hurt his feelings. I don't know.
Well?
Abner, get them papers straight on the press. Now, watch what you're doing now.
Well, Lum, I'm getting sleepy. Now, I believe I'll just go on home.
No, you ain't going to do no such a thing.
Oh.
We need the money Dick is paying us for these handbills, and we need it bad.
Well, I know that, but, doggies, there's a limit to how much work a feller can do in one day, especially a little short feller like me.
You ain't so little. Besides, this ain't hard work.
It is, too.
If we can get one more job like this one, we can pay off that bill from the wholesale house. That is, if we can keep taking in as much money in the store as we have the last couple of days.
Yeah, say, by the way, where is that money? I looked in the cash drawer this afternoon, and wasn't hardly none there.
Well, I hid most of it in our regular place.
Oh, you mean the big clock up on the wall in there?
Yeah. Never wanted to take no chances leaving it in the cash drawer.
Oh.
Not with them robberies we've been having in town lately.
No. Well, have they caught them fellers yet that robbed the gas station the other night?
No, but they're mighty nigh sure it's the same fellers that broke in Luke Spear's restaurant.
Well, I hope they hurry up and catch them. Because there's one thing I don't like to have around. It's a bunch of robbers going... Oh, wait a minute. Lum, did you hear that?
Huh?
That sounded like that screen door opened up there.
Yeah, it did, didn't it? And it wouldn't be nobody coming in this time of night.
You don't reckon it could be them,
I don't know, Abner. Maybe you better go and look.
No, you better go look, Lum. I'll get these handbills printed here. That's what I'll do.
Don't be a coward. All you got to do is just stick your head through the door there, and you can see if anybody come in. The store's all lit up.
Yeah, all right, but if anything happens to me now, you're going to be sorry. No, nobody there.
Well, you never even looked yet. Stick your head clean through the door. Take a good look.
Yeah, all right. Hello? Hello, who is it? Oh, ain't nobody there, Lum.
I didn't think you would be. More than likely just the wind.
Just about what it was. Wind blowed the door. Now, wait a minute. Doggies, there's a big envelope laying there on the floor, just inside the screen door. Look up there, Lum.
Envelope?
Yeah.
For goodness sakes, run up and see what it is, Abner.
I ain't going up there by myself now. You got to come along with me now, Lum.
For goodness sakes, all right, come on.
Yeah, come on.
Scaredy cat.
Oh, I ain't.
Boy, didn't think I was your papa instead of your business partner.
Well, that might be a bomb up there, I don't know.
Bombs don't come in envelopes.
Well, maybe they got a new kind or something. Doggies, Lum, look how your hands is shaking.
They ain't shaking no such a thing.
There, done it.
It's natural, the nervous type. Lots of fellers in the literary business are nervous and high-strung.
Well, are they pale in the face, too?
Abner, don't talk so much. Just pick up that envelope and see what's in it.
Let's see. It's addressed to the Edwards and Edwards Publishing Company. Oh, well, here. You want it, Lum?
No, you go ahead and open it up.
Well, let's see here. Look in here and see what it is. Doggies, this looks like some sort of a manuscript, I believe, Lum.
Manuscript?
Yeah, look here. Here it is.
You'd be bringing in a manuscript this time of night.
Now, I don't know. Name's right here on it, though. It says, Chapter 1 of the Mysterious Case of Evelyn Ermyntrude by Jorg Nowell.
Jorg Nowell?
Yeah.
Who's he?
I don't know. That's what it says here, though. By Jorg Nowell, the Phantom Author.
Phantom Author?
Yeah.
Well, man sakes, what kind of a thing are we getting into here?
I don't know. There's a phantom feller that I've saw in the Sunday funny papers, Lum. He sort of wears long purple tights and with a hood fastened on it. Reckon it could be him?
No, of course not. That feller you seen is just in the funny papers. He ain't real.
Oh, well, I didn't think he was. I don't believe no real feller run around in them long tights that way, especially when they was purple.
You know, I bound you somebody just pranking us, Abner.
Pranking us?
That Phantom Author part there. Sounds suspicious to me.
Well, reckon who could be, Lum? I know there ain't nobody in town by that name. Jorg Nowell. That sounds like he's some sort of a fern or something.
Yeah, well, I'll admit he's got me stumped. Is there actual story wrote there?
Yeah. Oh, type wrote out here. Leastwise, part of it is.
What do you mean, part of it?
Well, I was just looking at this last page here, and it says, to be continued.
Well, I do know.
Yeah, right
Maybe
there.
we ought to read this and see what it's all about. The whole thing looks awful curious to me.
Yeah, well, here, you take it then, Lum. You're a better out-loud reader than me. You read it.
Chapter 1 of the Mysterious Case of Evelyn Ermyntrude.
Well?
It was a cold, foreboding, wintry night that Evelyn Ermyntrude silently slipped out of her bedroom and stole into the large room at the end of the hall. Evelyn Ermyntrude smiled mysteriously through half-closed eyelids. Grannies, how could she do that, smile through her eyelids?
I don't know. More likely some trick to it, I reckon.
Smiled mysteriously through half-closed eyelids as she crossed the threshold. Perhaps she was thinking about the many times her stepfather had told her never to go into that room.
Well?
Never go in that room, he always said to her.
He did, huh?
But Evelyn would just nod her head and smile mysteriously through half-closed eyelids.
Doggy, she's getting good at that, ain't she?
Or perhaps she was thinking about the mysterious and horrible secrets that would soon be revealed to her within the forbidden room.
Oh, me.
No sooner had Evelyn closed the door behind her and started hunting for the light switch than she heard a loud knocking. Cold chills ran down her back.
Lum, did you hear anything?
Hey, sounded like somebody knocking, didn't it?
Yeah, sort of, I believe.
Open the door, Abner, see if there's anybody out there.
I ain't going to do it now, Lum.
Well, I'll do it then.
Well, go ahead.
If anybody's pranking us, I want to find out who it is. More than likely just some youngins.
Ain't no young'uns out this time of the night, I'll tell you that right now.
Be quiet.
Young'uns.
Hello? Hello? Anybody out here? Hello? Hello?
Hi, doggies. It's that Phantom feller, Lum. That's who it is. I know that Phantom in the funny paper can make himself invisible.
Oh, it ain't no such a thing, Abner. I bound you Gomer Bates is mixed up in this some way.
Well, Gomer ain't no Phantom.
I know that. Let's see, where was we at? Cold chills around
Lum, let's not read no more of that story.
Don't be silly, Abner. Story can't hurt us none.
Can't,
chills ran down her back, and her hair stood on end.
Which end?
Don't say. She ran to the door, flung it open, but was horrified to find nobody there.
Hi, doggies, that's just what happened to us just now, Lum. I don't think we better read any more of that, Lum.
That was just a coincidence, Abner.
You can't tell.
What happened here ain't got nothing to do with the story, I don't think.
Ain't, huh?
Of course, it does seem sort of curious, that knock coming just when it did.
Why, of course it does. Don't you reckon we ought to go on home, Lum?
Well, let's read a little more here and see what happened.
Oh, me.
Here we are. But was horrified to find nobody there.
We never neither.
Evelyn Ermyntrude quickly closed the door and locked it.
That's a smart thing to do.
Then she began a hurried search of the forbidden room. She told herself that she must work fast. I must work fast, she said through half-closed eyelids.
She better get them eyes of hers open, I'll tell her that.
Just as she was approaching a huge, foreboding closet door, the door slowly opened, and Evelyn froze in her tracks as a ghost emerged from the closet.
Lum, look back here. Lum, look back here in the feed room, Lum. Uh-oh, it's gone.
What's gone?
The ghost.
Ghost?
Why, sure, I seen one back there just now, Lum.
Oh, you sure your imagination ain't getting the best of it?
No, sir, Lum, I seen it now. Honest, I did.
Well, there ain't no such a thing as ghosts, though, Abner. You must imagine.
I never imagined nothing. Come on now, let's go home, Lum.
Well,
Come on.
Something tells me we ought to finish reading this story, Abner.
Lum, please don't read no more of that.
I got to. The ghost reached out two long claw-like hands and started in Evelyn's direction.
Poor little Evelyn.
Evelyn could not move. Just as she could feel the claws tightening about her neck.
Oh, my goodness.
A clock struck 1, and the ghost vanished.
Oh.
Evelyn swung around to look at the clock, which had saved her life, but as her eyes fell upon it, the clock struck twice more, and then disappeared into thin air. Evelyn fainted.
Lum.
What's the matter, Evelyn?
Look up there on the wall. Our clock.
Our clock?
Here, look, Lum. It's gone.
Oh, my goodness. And all our money was in it, too. We've been robbed.
Well, something tells us that Lum and Abner should be on their guard. And folks, whatever you do, don't let down your vitamin guard this spring and summer. Be sure of the daily supply of vitamins you and your family get. You know about one-a-day brand vitamin A and D tablets? Perhaps you should. You see, one-a-day vitamins are carefully standardized and their potency is guaranteed by the makers of Alka-Seltzer. And each one-a-day vitamin A and D tablet contains as much vitamin A as 2 pounds of yellow corn, as much vitamin D as 1 1/4 pounds of butter, and as much vitamins A and D as 1 1/2 teaspoonfuls of USP minimum cod liver oil. Just think of it. Liberal quantities of these important cod liver oil vitamins, but no fishy, oily taste, no aftertaste. Actually, each one-a-day A and D tablet gives you 25% more than your minimum daily requirements of vitamins A and D. That's why one-a-day brand vitamins are so truly economical, because just one tablet, once a day, is all you take. And once a day is so easy to remember, too. So ask your druggist for one-a-day brand vitamin A and D tablets. Look for that big 1 on each package.
is spooky. It really is. 83 years ago, May 26, 1942, Lum and Abner, here on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. Visit our webpage at classicradio.stream to support the podcast. We'll see you tomorrow with Westerns and Strangeness right here on Classic Radio Theater. I'm Wyatt Cox.